Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. NL, you're sick. Go to the doctor. You think you know me, okay? It's 1:12 p.m. That's a W. WBTD VML3. I went to the doctor, and I went to the doctor, by the way, despite knowing this is what was going to happen, and I respect it. As someone who is a genius, as we've established many times, I don't know if you know this, but I majored in biology, the hardest of the sciences. You can ask any biology major, they'll tell you the same thing. People are, oh, physics is so hard. I have to do calculus and differential equation. Yeah, F equals MA, get over it, okay? Oh, chemistry, I have to learn the chiral forms of all the CO2, H2O, C4H10. It's not that hard, okay? Biology, that's where the real moneymaker is. We, by the way, absolutely have to get rid of Super Magnet as soon as possible. Anyway, I went to the doctor, and the doctor did an evaluation of me, and I told him my symptoms, and he said, yeah, you probably got an infection. And I said, are you going to give me antibiotics? And he laughed. He laughed in my face in a way that I cannot do because of my illness. He went, ha ha ha. Ha ha ha, I'm sorry. You're an otherwise healthy adult man in his 20s. We don't give you antibiotics. And I said, why? And he said, well, the reason, if you must know, is because one day antibiotic resistance as a result of flippant antibiotic prescriptions and misuse by the end user is going to lead to a global flu pandemic. Probably wipe out like 5% of the world's population or something like that. And I said, I respect that, but at the same time, I pay my taxes, so give me the juice. He did not give me the juice. So I went to the doctor. Long story short, most of this has been satire, but he said, you're going to be fine. It's a cold. And I said, yeah, I know, but I thought I would go to the doctor anyway just to sit around for 2 hours for leisure time. So I'm all, like, medicated up. Not with anything too strong, just over-the-counter Dayquils and whatnots. Various craft Dayquils. I don't blame the doctor, by the way, because I understand. I don't like having a cold. And I don't think it's a cold. I think it's like an infection of some sort. It doesn't matter. But what is the end result of me having a cold? Well, I feel a little bit of discomfort for a week or two. Millions and millions of egomaniacs out there, deprived of their daily enjoyment of my The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus series. Just joking, those videos still coming out. Slay the Spire, just joking, those videos still coming out. Streams, just joking, they're still coming out. I get stuff done, is what I'm trying to say. Look, definitely should not have used the strength card here, but cough, cough, I'm sick. But what I'm trying to get at is it's discomfort, It's not a major ailment. I'm not at risk of death, I hope. This will be a very ironic video. If I do indeed suffer a fatality as a result of my minor infection, that would be unlikely, but certainly I would be devastated. More so than the irony of the whole situation, I would be worried about, my family and, their emotional state and their ability to, have some degree of stability and security in the modern era. But anyway, the point is, for me, it's not that big of a deal. I'm a big boy, I can deal with a little bit of illness. Health. Pardon me? Pardon me, good sir? I understand. If you're a young kid, you have some kind of, immune compromise as a result of a more debilitating disease or something like that. I mean, the thing is, I love Guppy's Head, but I think I'll stick with Unicorn Stump just because it's a little bit of variety. You're older, an infection or pneumonia or something could kill you. It's no joke. Do you know this is a real story? Because I've been looking up pneumonia a lot on the internet. Trying to figure out how many badass points I get for having had it. Potentially, even though it's entirely self-diagnosed and the doctor said I have just a cold. Pneumonia was commonly referred to as the old man's friend. You know why? Because if you had another disease and you got pneumonia, pneumonia killed you faster so that you didn't have to suffer as long with the other disease. How metal is that? I've been looking at this like pneumonia is some kind of terrible disease, and now it's actually considered a friend to the elderly. I had no clue. Anyway, it's a young man's enemy, though. There's no question about that. A lot of things that are an old man's friend are a young man's enemy. Dried apricots. Elderly gentlemen, love them. Younger men, not so much. Don't take that out of context, even if it is true. Pardon me. Guppy? Guppy? None of these are related to the gup. We got the gup. You gotta have that gup. It's why, and by the way, you might laugh and say, lol, Canadian healthcare. It's not Canadian healthcare, okay? My mom, you know, I was just visiting them. She came down with the same symptoms I had. She went to her doctor. Doctor gave her a course of antibiotics. You know why? Because she's, well, first off, she's been with the doctor probably for like 25 years, so I'm sure they have some kind of rapport where she's basically like, I would just like the medicine, and they're like, okay, yeah, you can have the medicine. Whereas I walked in off the street, and they were like, what do you want again? By the way, we don't have drugs here. And I'm like, no, you are doing me a great disservice with that. It's not like I'm recreationally going to be using antibiotics. Vaccines, maybe. But that's just because I like to tempt fate. Anyway. It's more of just, it's the plight, and, you know, you'll see this all the time, and it's just the honest to God truth. Nobody has it harder in this world than young men between the ages of 20 and 29. It's just, the world is not made for us. That's a joke, by the way. Life is relatively great. People take me seriously almost everywhere, even though I still feel like a 14-year-old trapped in a soft old man's body. Not old man, young adult's body. Let's put it that way. But when it comes to medicine, they don't take you seriously. You know, same thing whenever I go in. You know, if my wife has to go to the doctor for whatever reason, some kind of follow-up checkup, things are always going wonky with a woman's body. And don't take that as an insult. It just, again, every time it just makes me happier and more appreciative that I was born as a man. Because everything just, and it is not true for everybody, but for the most part, it's just kind of set it and forget it, you know? Things work. Now, I realize the irony of saying that while I'm ill for like the third time this year, but you get the idea. Women's bodies are always leaking. Things are getting twisted up. They require a little bit more maintenance. But you know what? You know what else requires a lot of maintenance? A luxury vehicle. And that's because they're worth it. That's right. All women are queens. And you will have my respect. But whenever we go to the doctor, Kate's doctor's always like, Kate, are you feeling okay? Tell me absolutely everything going on in your physical and mental world right now. I want to experience that whole purview. And I'm like, doctor, I tore my meniscus. And she's like, that's just an excuse to not exercise. And I'm like, yes, you're right. I'm sorry. You gotta really, if you're in your 20s and you want some medicine, at least up here, you gotta be the squeaky wheel if you want to get the grease. If you want to buy completely legal Schedule 4 narcotics, not a problem. Type it into Google Maps. If you want a course of antibiotics, I'm sorry, we're going to put you in front of the tribunal to figure out whether or not you've deserved it. That's okay. Again, I'm mostly just playing it up for amusement. This is not like... It just makes me stir crazy, okay? I have an actual problem. This is not a joke. And I think this may be hard to relate to. It's not meant to come across as bragging, because it's actually like a cause of a little bit of friction in my life. I cannot sit still. I don't mean that I have like... I'm gonna go... censor. And I don't think it's that it's very good. It's just that it gives me something I can do with Unicorn Stump. Oh, what was the room? Was the room a 4? We should have rerolled some stuff. Anyway. I cannot sit still. And by that, I don't mean that I have, like, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I can't remember what order they go in. But, like, literally, if we're at, like, a coffee shop or a restaurant and we get the items for here instead of to go, after I'm done, I'm done. I want to go. I can't sit around and do nothing because my brain is broken. And it means that, you know, when I'm sick... Oh, it only slows enemies. Okay. That's still fine. Like, there's a mild synergy, but we need an orbital to work with it. I just can't... I used to be able to. Very easily, actually. Just sit around and do nothing. You know, I'd be like, what'd you do this weekend? Nothing. Played some video games, watched some movies. Don't even really remember it, to be honest. Now, like, I'm so broken that not every minute of every day, but at least there's like a 10-hour window every day where I'm like, I have to be moving. I have to be doing something. I can't sit still for more than 15 minutes without starting to feel like I'm, like, cheating myself, basically. And that's why being sick is rough. It's not the discomfort and the coughing. Whatever, dude. You cough, it's over. The voice, you get used to it after, like, 5 minutes, right? We're probably sitting relatively pretty here. It's the forced rest that drives me crazy. And again, it's not me trying to brag. It's actually me being like, that's incredibly unhealthy. That's something that I actually, like, need to work on. I'm becoming like Alec Baldwin in Glengarry Glen Ross. I have to, like, I think if I schedule downtime, that's one way it works. And some people, you can probably relate to this, I'm sure. But if I'm like, hey, we're going to hang out tonight, or we're going to hang out in a week, I budget for the time. And during the hangout, I'm there. I'm present. I'm Buddhist. I understand. I live in the now. But spontaneous downtime, I'm like, hey, chop chop, you know? So we already had a 9-minute lunch. Let's not take forever. That's the real negative part about being sick. For me. I also, like, I don't know. What if everybody... This is a logical extreme, by the way. What if instead of restricting the use of antibiotics, we made the use of antibiotics so widespread that the common cold bacteria or viri, which I understand you need antivirals for, but, you know, it's just, at this point, it's just a semantic difference. They just all died off. Because that's the problem, you know, let me give you... This is like a high school biology level. Basically, why does using antibiotics lead to stronger and more resistant bacteria in the future that make, you know, epidemiologists concerned? Well, you know, it's like a survival of the fittest evolution sort of situation. So you take this antibiotic that's been designed to kill a specific strain of bacteria, and it does a relatively good job, but inevitably, because there's like billions of them in there, oh, that's very dangerous. I actually think we can't take it yet. Because there's billions of them in there, some of them just through essentially genetic variants have a stronger ability to survive. The use of the antibiotics, hold up here a second. Double up, grab it, and start doing some rerolls, please. I want these bombs. I feel like they might be valuable for combat purposes. Alright. If you're gonna force my hand, I'll do it. Okay. And then we get sack boy. I want it, but I can't take it yet. Alright, so you got like this, it's like, imagine it was a pesticide, you know? You're trying to kill all these insects, but there's a billion of them, so you kill 999 million of them, but a million survive. The million that survive and they reproduce very quickly are going to have a natural resistance to the antibiotic. And then what happens is the doctor says, like, hey, take these for 2 weeks. And then after 5 days, people go, I don't need to take it anymore because I feel better. So I'm going to stop using the medicine. And then what that leads to is instead of maybe killing off some of the weakened bacteria, they the resistant ones grow and propagate, and you know, then you're going to pass those on to somebody else, and they're going to have a more antibiotic-resistant form of the bacteria. They also, like, it's been a long time, but bacteria share these things called plasmids, which are, like, shareable pieces of DNA, so they can be like, hey, bacteria bro, I'm just going to go. Bacteria bro, check it out. You might encounter something like this in the future. Points to a picture of an antibiotic. So here's a little tool that'll help you out should you ever find yourself in the time of need. So that's why they're worried about resistance, and I understand it. At the same time, I pay my taxes, and I demand... What do I care if some 80-year-old Nobel Peace Prize winner dies of a preventable disease because I misuse my antibiotics? Isn't that the spirit of the land of the free? I want the juice. The doctor did not respond well to the I want the juice article of my argument. And that's okay. I'm just trying to say we'll work with it. We'll work with it, we'll work through it. You know, the only other thing I dislike about being sick the most is you have to lie to people on a daily basis. When people say, you know, basically, I went to a walk-in clinic, and they were like, it's going to be an hour before we can have the doctor tell you that there's nothing we can do for you. And I was like, cool. So I renewed my auto insurance for a year. And while I was renewing my insurance, the insurance agent was like, how are you doing today? And I sound like death. I look great. I've been working out lately. Hello.
Oh my god. Your office is a little messy.
I got bigger fish to fry. Love you. Like I said, you gotta lie to people on a daily basis. I sound like death, look amazing, as usual. I've been eating a lot of probiotics. Maybe that's my problem right there. You can't take a probiotic and an antibiotic. You're just gonna end up with some kind of neutral biotic relationship. And I want to talk about that. How is it possible that both a probiotic and an antibiotic can be good for you? I guess the truth is that antibiotics actually aren't good for you, are they? They kill off good and bad bacteria. Probiotics I don't think have been proven to be good for you either, but it's a different story. It's not for this video. So I just have to lie, you know. Hey, how you doing today? How do you think I'm doing? You can see how I sound. You can hear how I sound. I go, pretty good. How about you? You know, it starts the business relationship off on the wrong foot is all I'm trying to say. Not that there's much of a business relationship to getting insurance in a province where there's only one provider, but anyway. I would really like to improve our damage stat. We have not had much in the way of opportunity to do that, and it is driving me crazy. We don't even need to improve our damage stat. All we need is a single orbital that isn't like Big Fan. Because Unicorn Stump and Sepulcher will allow us to do like a pretty decent amount of sustained damage there. I think we've done a pretty good job of just, you know, keeping ourselves going for the time being. We haven't taken a whole lot of damage, all things considered. But it's also like, it's a slog, dude. I mean, have you noticed? Not really doing a whole lot of damage here. Kinda need... I really thought you could shoot your boy. You did not shoot your boy. Don't do it. Don't do it. Ah! It turns out these bosses, who are very easy, are actually a little bit difficult. If you don't have any freaking damage to work with. I will accept a deal of almost any configuration right now. Thank you, thank you. All I ask is that it carries some kind of DPS component along with it. If you do not mind. Thank you. Well, that's good for DPS. Really bad for speed. And that's amazing. So if anything, I'm mostly glad that we resisted the notion of taking Taurus. By the way, we got a luck upgrade from experimental treatment too, which is good for tough luck. Tough love. So now we're kind of, I wouldn't say it's an easy win, but it should be pretty close. Alright, let's get the heck to our item room. I thought I was going to say get the heck out of here, but that's not true. Basically, why haven't we cured all diseases yet? We put a man on the moon. A man on the moon. Hey, hey, yeah. Not a very good REM impression, but... What if the frontman of REM released his own flavor of chewing gum? That's right. This is what it feels like to chew stipe gum. Stipe gum. His name is Michael Stipe. Why not? We had a lot of options there. I appreciate the rate of fire, I think is where I'm going to leave that one with. Slower kind of run, but we're going to move along. So yeah, you know, basically what I'm asking you to do, normally I say, if you enjoyed the episode, click the subscribe button, click the like button, they both help out a great deal. This time I'm going to ask you to do it faster, because basically I'm a hero. I've helped to, at my own personal expense, I have helped stave off a global pandemic that could cause millions of people to become infected with an antibiotic-resistant super strain of influenza. So if you ever turn on the news, and it's like, thousands infected, new global pandemic, you know who not to tweet and be like, thanks a lot, jerk. You should tweet me and go, thanks for trying. If only everyone was as selfless as you, maybe we wouldn't be in this mess. And that's just the honest to goodness truth. Hey, I just want this penny, please. Thank you so much. Where are we going on this run? Well, I hope we're going to a room that contains some kind of speed upgrade. But our damage went from like 4 to 12.5 in a single floor. So I'm not going to be the kind of dude who complains about that. But I'm going to complain about not getting a shiny nickel that I was promised. It was alluded to in the Loom of Fate. You know the other thing that's weird about sickness? And I know we've been talking about this for a while here. Bear with me. Why is it, during the day, especially actually, like, I wake up in the morning, I cough up like an alien creature like, you know, Will Byers in Stranger Things, except this time it's green. Too much information? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't invent the human body. I'm just the slave to its mechanical or the biomechanical functions here. And then at night, well, throughout the rest of the day, I cough occasionally when my throat gets dried out. I go, But then at night, it gets really bad. Like, if I try to take a deep breath, it actually sounds like I'm trying to stop myself from crying. I'm like... And then Kate's like, are you watching Black Panther again? And I'm like, none of your business. What are those? Etc., etc. But I am, because it's the greatest movie ever made. And, infinitely rewatchable. Secret room? Probably a secret room. Ooh, don't mind if I do. Let's try this. Try this. But then, here's where it actually gets to the point I was trying to make. When I fall asleep, I sleep soundly throughout the night without coughing. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of hypotheses for what's happening here. One, I have to admit, my wife was 100% correct. Coughing is largely a voluntary act. You're really smart and good. That was a really good and smart idea. On the bright side, 26 damage. I did ruin my devil chances, but we did also get to 26 damage, which is pretty solid. So, hey, you know, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. So there's one possibility. Sometimes you cough to dislodge an obstruction. Sometimes it's just a little bit of mild discomfort and you go, I might as well cough and get it out of there. Dude, we have 32 damage. That's insane. The other one is that somehow, when you sleep, your brain is like, you know what? Just let all that bacteria, mucus, gross stuff accumulate there. Work with me here, please. I gotta admit, Unicorn Stump is not doing it for us, so I'm gonna take Mystery Gift. And I'm gonna let it do nothing for us for a while. Hopefully pop it on a Devil Room. That's my hypothesis right now. Or even just use it to get another boss item. That hopefully at this point will be speed. So which is it, body? Because I would like to cough less during the day. Also, if we're being straight up, I would take being sick mentally every day for the rest of my life. And I would be annoyed, but I would not be like, this isn't worth living. It's the voice that gets me the most. I just want the old, sultry Northernlion voice back, okay? That's the main takeaway. But I've talked too much about this. Anyway, we're moving on. Even though it's the only thing on my mind right now. Except for the fact that, hey man, I'm seeing a movie this Thursday. And you're gonna say, oh, are they coming out with a new Marvel movie so soon? I didn't realize there was a new Marvel movie so soon. Because the only movies that Ryan sees in theaters are Marvel movies. Because he's uncultured. Listen here, you little pipsqueak. I'm role-playing. I pick you up by the collar, shake the lunch money out of your pockets. I'm a scholar of film. Favorite director? Maybe you've heard of him. He directed Stalker and Solaris. He's a Russian film director by the name of Andrei Tartarovsky. That joke is gonna go largely unappreciated. But a couple of you out there went, ho ho ho! And that's all I could ever ask for. But guess what? You're right. It's Ant-Man and the Wasp. Comes out on July 5th. July 6th. It doesn't matter. I'm excited. I like going to the movies. I like going to the movies at night. You know, I'll come out and say it. You know when the best time to see a movie is? Like the first showing early in the morning. I'm gonna go for it. Waking up early to see a movie, a little weird. But I've gone and seen, I've probably seen like 4 10 a.m. showings in my entire life. Celtic Cross might have been better there. And I have fond memories of every single one of them. The Saturday after District 9 came out, none of my friends wanted to go watch it. I wanted to hang out with them in the afternoon. They were sleeping in. I said, you know what? I'm going to walk down to the local multiplex. 1 ticket for District 9, please. Went and watched it. Came home. They were eating breakfast. Or brunch, I guess. But, you know, they were like, where did you go? And I was like, I saw a movie. They're like, man, this guy has made an incredibly productive use of his leisure time. We spent the rest of the day hanging out together, but I had the extra enriching experience of having, you know, been beholden to Peter Jackson and, what's the guy's, Neil Blomkamp's magnum opus. Still waiting on District 10. One day. The one time it backfired is when I saw Inside Out at a morning showing. If you're seeing a movie that has a large family audience, and you're not one of them, if you're just a childless adult, don't go see that in the morning. Go see that at like 11 p.m. at night. You and the other adults can cry in peace without having to worry about the screaming crying of the family contingent. What is this? That is very good, is what it is. I'm probably not going to fight Hush. And I have a great excuse because I'm currently saving the world from a global pandemic, as mentioned, but I'm trying to think of the other times it happened. I saw Black Panther at like 11 a.m. That was a good experience. It's just something about like when you leave a movie theater, having it not be like the end of your day and being like, all right, let's go. You guys want to get some lunch? I wonder if this lunch place is open yet. It's the perfect way to handle it. It's not like you have to psych yourself up for a whole day to watch a movie. Like, I know people, they don't like to fly early in the morning. The reason they don't like to fly early in the morning is because they're anxious, so they think like somehow they'll have a greater chance of assuaging that anxiety if they fly out in the afternoon. They're like, oh, at least after I wake up, I got a few hours in which to, you know, calm myself down. It's not like that for a movie. For a movie, you go sit in a chair. It's the easiest thing in the world. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow, or 2 days from now, with my Ant-Man and the Wasp review. Spoilers! I know I'm gonna like it, because I like everything Marvel produces, because I'm a shill. And I also love Paul Rudd. And in my head, I'm like, that's what I'm gonna look like when I'm 55, because he's 55 years. How old is Paul Rudd? Anyway, it always surprises me. Paul Rudd. He's 49 years old. That's outrageous. I'm looking at pictures of Paul Rudd right now. How is it conceivable that Paul Rudd looks the way he does as a 50-year-old man? That's crazy. Then I just saw a picture of him that's from like maybe the year 2000, and he looks like he's 11. So I'm thinking that when he was born, he must have just looked like a fetus. It's the only explanation. He was born at like negative 20 years old. All I have to do is somehow probably lose like 40 pounds and then get Marvel cut, aka jacked as heck, totally without the use of illegal substances, because that's not what Hollywood actors do. You ever see The Rock? All natural, bro. He just doesn't take any cheat days. You want to be 290 pounds of pure muscle at age 47? It's easy, dude. You just 5 workouts a week and never eat Domino's. That's the secret. By the way, I'm not besmirching the hard work that it takes to get a physique like that. I'm just saying. You see it on the internet from time to time. People are like, how do I get cut like Gerard Butler in 300 in 6 weeks? And you're like, well, you're going to go to some shady internet pharmacy. And then you're going to stab yourself in the butt. Is my expectation, at least. Still, I'm sure it takes a lot of hard work. Again, I'm not besmirching the hard work and the discipline that it still takes. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are on steroids that are not in shape. And that's just got to be, like, disheartening, right? Because, I mean, that's not like a recreational narcotic. That's a narcotic you take for a productive purpose. So to have it, to be like, hey, can you imagine if you were, like, the lawyer or the judge in the courtroom and they're like, oh, you've been charged with possession of 1 kilogram of, I don't even know what the name of a steroid. They all end in like Zol, though. You've been charged with the possession of 1 kilogram of Better Call Zol. How do you plead? Not guilty, Your Honor. Well, open and shut case in my eyes. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. That helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.